Joe Rogan recently shook the boxing world by sharing his thoughts on the upcoming clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, a matchup that has many experts puzzled.
He's slick, man. Yeah. He's slick. He's super intelligent. Like, he sets traps, he does stuff, and then, you know, there's a bunch of great breakdown videos of particularly the Errol Spence fight, like him setting traps. It's just, he's a very high-level guy, but Canelo is dangerous. He broke Billy Joe Saunders' whole face. Broke his whole face. What he did to Amir Khan, remember that shit?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, lordy.
While Rogan praised Crawford's exceptional skill set, he emphasized the massive challenge that comes with moving up from 147 pounds to 168 pounds. He explained that such a leap is no small task and highlighted how much of a difference that weight gap could make. Despite acknowledging Crawford as one of the very best in boxing today, Rogan suggested that Canelo's proven power and extensive experience at 168 could ultimately be the deciding factor in the fight.
Shoot, what about Crawford and Canelo?
What do you think of that?
Personally, I'm a big Crawford fan, so I'm going to lean his way. My only concern is just the size. Like, it didn't look like Terrence's power transferred in the last fight, so now it's coming up some more. You know what I mean?
Part of the problem with that is Majumav's really good.
Yeah,
he's really.
I mean,
good.
but I just think Crawford is. It's weird to say against Canelo, but I think he's the better boxer, and I think he's the guy who can make the better in-fight adjustments if Canelo doesn't kill him.
It's going to be interesting, I'll tell you that.
What do you think?
I don't know. You know, it's a big jump to go from 54, which was a step up from 47. Right?
Now
so it goes to
to
54, and now he's going to 68. That's so much weight.
A lot of weight.
But Terence is, I think he's the best switch hitter since Hagler.
They claim Hagler was my favorite. They claim he's walking around like a $190 or something. And you do know he's a wrestler. So he's got that mentality to him.
Yeah, Terence and they rented out the Apex for a while. Was training there. Kids running around. Some kids running around all on the mat. I was like, get these badass kids out of here.
He was using the Apex? Why was he using the Apex?
I don't know.
Funny.
I'd see it, 30 people, you know what I'm saying?
One gonna run into
30 people.
Right.
Yeah, half of them in suits.
How many times did he use it?
Oh, he was there for a while.
Really?
Yeah, they was training at the Apex.
Interesting. And this was getting ready for this fight?
Yeah, getting ready for this fight.
Well, that makes sense because the UFC is co-promoting.
Yeah.
Dana is a part of that.
I saw on their website, buy the Canelo Crawford fight. Now, in my head, I was like, holy shit. And then I was like, oh, yeah, Dana's involved with this.
Yeah.
That's something you never thought you'd see.
The discussion around this fight is filled with uncertainty, as voices across the boxing world share different takes. One of them is former opponent Jose Benavidez, who once faced Crawford and holds a strong view on the matchup. He's siding with Crawford to pull off the upset, insisting that despite the weight disadvantage, Crawford's intelligence and adaptability make him a threat to anyone. Benavidez argues that while Canelo's size advantage is real, it isn't as overwhelming as many believe. He points to Crawford's ability to switch seamlessly between orthodox and southpaw, along with his sharp fight IQ and in-ring adjustments, as key factors. In his eyes, Crawford won't step into the ring intimidated like so many of Canelo's past opponents, and this mental toughness could be the true game changer.
A lot of people are counting Crawford out. Crawford's a fucking beast. He's smart, he knows what he's doing. Canelo, he's not that big of a guy. He's obviously weighs more, but you can't take nothing from Crawford. He goes in there to win. So I feel like it'd be a good fight. It's my brother didn't get the opportunity, but only Canelo knows why it didn't happen. And you just gotta keep moving forward. Gotta keep moving forward. But it's gonna be a good fight to watch. I got Crawford on this one.
A past opponent, and you've shared the ring with Crawford in one of the most scintillating fights of Crawford's career. Talk to us intricately. What's one of the things that fans just can't ascertain about Crawford while watching on TV?
The thing with him, he adjusts. He's a smart motherfucker. He adjusts. He not only does he switch from southpaw to orthodox, but he's just a smart. He has a high IQ in boxing, and that's what I feel like. All these fighters that go in there to fight Canelo, they already go in there scared, is what I believe, that which already beats him, So Crawford's gonna go in there to fucking win. He's not gonna go in there to fucking lose. So I have it going Crawford.
Crawford's decision to move up in weight and challenge Canelo has sparked concern from several fighters who've shared the ring with either champion. Amir Khan, who has been defeated by both, warned Crawford about the risks of stepping into the super middleweight division. He emphasized that while Crawford's boxing IQ is unmatched, facing Canelo at 168 pounds could put serious strain on his body. The extra weight, Khan noted, might slow Crawford down, while Canelo's punching power, even at this stage of his career, remains a dangerous factor. Khan also questioned whether Crawford needed to take on such a challenge after already achieving so much. His advice was straightforward: don't take on the added pressure of facing Canelo at 168.
I think I'm the only guy that's been in with both fighters. So, yeah, I'm thinking of maybe going there. I've been asked to go there and obviously give my input on the fight before they go in the ring. And obviously I know both fighters. Canelo's a friend now after our fight we had, and also Crawford had shared training camp with him as well. It's a good fight, but I'm not gonna say too much.
Okay.
I'm gonna save it till on the day of the fight.
Okay.
But look, it's gonna be a mega fight. Honestly, it's hard to pick the winner.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's a close one.
The notion that Crawford could face difficulties at a higher weight has been echoed by other fighters as well, including Richardson Hitchens. Although Hitchens doesn't predict a knockout, he believes Crawford's skill set could still pose real challenges for Canelo. With his adaptability and precise boxing, Crawford may create problems for a fighter like Canelo, who depends heavily on power and pressure. Hitchens views this matchup as a true clash of styles, where Crawford's finesse and ring IQ could potentially offset Canelo's strength.
One of the most craftiest dudes that Canelo gonna be in the ring with. Hand speed, IQ, long arms, speed, power. You know, switch hitter. I just think that it's gonna be a lot for. It's gonna be something different for Canelo, but and Canelo's Canelo. You know, Canelo been first title defense was in 2011 versus Ricky Hatton, and he's still on top to the present time. So this is over 10 years. We're going on like 15 years of this guy fighting on the championship level. So there's nothing new for him. So I do believe that it's gonna be a huge fight for both guys. But obviously I'm backing Bud. You know, I have a personal relationship with Terence Crawford, and he's a black fighter, and I do want to see my own winning. I think, you know, Bud is a great guy, you know, especially always being hands-on with the young fighters coming up behind him, guys like me, Shakur, Devin Haney's, being in the gym with guys like us, and, you know, just giving us free gaming like that. So I think that would be motivation for the young ones behind him, to show them like, yeah, like I could do it, like you could do it too. So I really want to see Bud win that fight, and I think that
But not everyone believes Crawford can outbox Canelo. Regis Prograis doubts that Crawford's speed and technical skill will be enough to neutralize Canelo's power. He pointed to Canelo's past success against bigger punchers like Sergey Kovalev and Gennady Golovkin, arguing that Canelo has already shown he can withstand strong opposition at super middleweight. Prograis also warned that the added weight could cost Crawford some of his natural speed and power, leaving him open to Canelo's heavy shots. In his view, the gap in size and power is simply too great for Crawford to overcome.
I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You gotta look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, you know, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always the difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. You know, his head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight. Like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him troubles, Lara, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol, you know, they gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that. But I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee, you know. So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't, you know, Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about a great. This might be. I mean, people might kill me for it, but well, not really. But this might be the best Mexican fight.
Meanwhile, Andy Ruiz shared a more balanced perspective. He acknowledged Canelo's power but pointed out that Canelo has shown vulnerabilities in the past against southpaws. With Crawford being one of the most dangerous southpaws in boxing, Ruiz believes this could be a key factor. Still, he stopped short of predicting a winner, admitting the fight is too close to call. In his view, both men bring unique strengths that could shift the momentum in their favor at different stages of the matchup.
All I know is that if you were in a Canelo Crawford card, that card would be a million times. It's still an amazing card, but you would have added a lot. Who wins, Canelo or Crawford?
I think it's gonna be a good fight, man. I'm going for Canelo, of course. You know, he's the Mexican warrior as well. And for Crawford, man, you can't neglect him or you can't underestimate him as well. You know, he has a lot of skills, a lot of movement. He's a lefty as well. That's what Canelo has trouble with. I think it's gonna be an amazing fight, man. I just can't wait.
On the other hand, Zab Judah expressed strong confidence in Crawford's ability to outthink Canelo. He argued that Crawford's sharper reflexes, intelligence, and overall boxing skills would give him the edge. Judah highlighted Crawford's speed and quickness as crucial tools that could wear Canelo down, particularly in the later rounds when Canelo's stamina often fades. In his view, Crawford's high ring IQ would enable him to dictate the fight and potentially even stop Canelo as the bout progresses.
Canelo and Crawford.
Crawford. No hesitation. No hesitation.
I want to see that fight.
Big Bud. Big Bud. We're going to have to roll Canelo up. We're going to have to pack him up, baby.
But how hard is the jump from 47 to 68?
I mean, listen, it's a very big challenge. But what I said, with his skills and the way he's adapted to the size, brother, when I seen them stand toe-to-toe and side by side, I said, game over. Terence Crawford. And listen, don't be surprised if he stops it. I'm telling you.
Who?
Don't be surprised
if Canelo stops Crawford.
Terence Bud Crawford stops Canelo.
I would be surprised.
I love you. Skills pay the bills. See that, Cody?
Caleb Plant believes this fight is about more than just physical attributes. In his view, both Canelo and Crawford bring distinct strengths, Canelo with his raw power and experience, and Crawford with his sharpness and adaptability. Plant considers the matchup a battle of mental toughness and strategy, which makes it extremely tough to call. He emphasized that the outcome could tilt either way, depending on which fighter is able to impose his will and execute his game plan more effectively.
Terence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, you know, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. You know, Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox, southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside. And he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why, you know, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, you know, be able to find out firsthand.
Shakur Stevenson referenced Crawford's performance against Shawn Porter as proof that he has the tools to defeat Canelo. He pointed to Crawford's seamless ability to switch between orthodox and southpaw stances as a major advantage in the matchup. Stevenson is confident that Crawford's ring IQ and versatility will allow him to outmaneuver Canelo and secure the win.
I've been putting it out since, I want to say, when he fought Shawn Porter. Like back then, if you go watch, it's an interview out there. I had said I think that Terence Crawford would beat Canelo Alvarez right after he fought Shawn Porter.
At that point, but why did you believe then that was the right fight?
Because I just knew, like, as far as in that weight class, Terence Crawford is like the greatest. So I just feel as though with Canelo's style and like the style of boxing that he got, I think and this is before Bivol did it. But I thought like Terence Crawford was the only guy who I felt as though could have beat Canelo with his style.
Arislandi Lara, who knows Canelo well from their close split decision fight in 2014, offered a more cautious perspective. Having experienced Canelo's power firsthand, Lara warned that the danger only increases as the fight wears on. His advice to Crawford is to rely on speed and movement, avoiding the kind of toe-to-toe exchanges that play into Canelo's strengths. Lara stressed that keeping the fight at range will be essential if Crawford wants to outbox the Mexican champion and steer clear of his punishing shots.
He sees it as a very interesting 50-50 fight. He feels like Canelo's very strong right now, and he wants to figure out to see how Crawford's going to handle the power, especially in the early rounds, and what's going to happen. He said he remembers fighting Canelo back 14 years ago it is now. And he said he remembers he used his legs real good. And as long as Crawford uses his legs and he doesn't let Canelo just hit him in the arms and beat him up in the arms, he has a very good chance.
Kelly Pavlik, another fighter who has shared the ring with Canelo, highlighted a key difference in their experiences. He noted that Canelo has consistently faced much bigger opponents throughout his career, while Crawford has yet to prove himself at a higher weight class. Pavlik believes Crawford's lack of experience at 168 pounds could be the deciding factor. Though Crawford's skills are unquestionable, Pavlik feels that the size and strength of fighters in this division may present obstacles too great to overcome.
That's a tough one. Look, I like betting fights or making picks, and I'm usually pretty good on all my picks, even when I had the podcast. But sometimes, because people look for that fighter, that former world champion, and they like want to pick them apart if they get it wrong. This is one of the fights where I want to sit back and watch and not worry about my pick. Canelo is a small middleweight, super middleweight. He just is. But he's also showed that he could go up in weight class, and he's a great fighter. I mean, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy, too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200 probably, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on it because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. The guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying.
However, Pavlik also acknowledged Crawford's agility, footwork, and ring IQ as valuable assets that could allow him to control the pace. If Crawford is able to execute his game plan early and push Canelo into deep waters, he might secure a late stoppage or edge out a decision. Pavlik suggested that one possible strategy for Crawford would be to apply pressure from the start, forcing Canelo to expend energy. Given that Canelo has shown signs of fatigue in later rounds, this approach could tilt the fight in Crawford's favor, provided he can sustain his own stamina and keep Canelo at a pace he's uncomfortable with.
Canelo's a little early on, put Canelo behind, right? Even if it's 3 out of the first 4 rounds, because when Canelo has to fight, when Canelo has to step it up, after 7 rounds, he starts to fade a little bit. We've seen that with Bivol. We've seen it in a lot of his fights with Triple G. When Canelo can control the fight and the ring generalship, he could fight 12 rounds pretty good. But when Canelo gets pushed early on in the fight, he starts to fade muscle endurance wise. So if I was Crawford, I would kind of stay in a little bit on the early rounds and make him have to play catch up in rounds 3, 4, 5, and then by round 7, that's where he could really step it up.
Tim Bradley, a strong supporter of Crawford, has brushed aside concerns about Canelo's recent performances. He believes Crawford's superior boxing skills will be enough to neutralize Canelo's power. Bradley is confident that from the opening bell, Crawford will be able to dictate the fight, even if Canelo tries to drag it into a brawl. In his view, Crawford is simply the more complete fighter, and his refined boxing ability will stand out against Canelo, who leans more on brute strength.
It don't matter if Canelo is on that. He ain't beat no Terence Crawford. You heard it here first. Plus, I look at the performances of Canelo. I look at his last performances. I mean, they've been all right, It ain't been like, wow, blew me away. So I'm not really worried about all of that. And the same thing will go to Crawford. I know he's a snack, and I know some news came out this week and all of that, but I personally believe that Snack is clean. I think it's a conflict of interest, the fact that, he knows how to beat the system, quote unquote, make the contact, but at the same time, I think Snack, you got products going around the world, this and that. I mean, all these athletes are testing. They're not testing anything or positive by using Snack at all. So I think it's safe. There's no doubt about it. So with that being said, I'm not worried about that. As long as they testing, I'm good.
Finally, Karan Davis shared his perspective, suggesting that Crawford's mental toughness and ability to adapt at a higher weight could play a decisive role. Despite the size gap, Davis believes Crawford's agility and intelligence will remain intact even at 168 pounds. He argued that Crawford's knack for adjusting to new challenges could give him a clear edge over Canelo, especially when it comes to the mental aspect of the fight.
Crawford? Yeah. So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, but like, you know, he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo experience. But then you got Crawford he got great experience as well. It's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because just because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally like sits really well at 168, and it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he does it, you know, if anybody can do it, it'll be Terence Crawford.
As the clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford draws closer, opinions remain sharply divided. Many argue that Crawford's boxing IQ, adaptability, and determination will give him the tools to overcome Canelo's power and experience. Others warn that the size difference, combined with Canelo's proven success against larger opponents, could be too great a hurdle for Crawford. No matter the outcome, this showdown is shaping up to be one of the most tightly contested and unpredictable fights in recent memory.